In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Plo Koon for the Saga Legends line under the Legacy Collection banner. So I'm pretty sure this is the last release of a series of this particular Plo Koon action figure. This is just a straight repaint of previous releases. The very first release was in the Revenge of Sith line. And from my understanding, a lot of people were not very happy with that action figure because of the paint and how it turned out. For example, his skin may have been too orange and something about his outfit, the color just wasn't right on it. I never owned that action figure. I do know what it looks like, but it never really occurred to me that it looked terrible. I thought it was an alright action figure for what it is. But fast forward a couple more years, and I think in either the 30th anniversary line or at the very beginning of the Legacy Collection, this Plo Koon was released as part of the Droid Factory sets, which I forget exactly what the other action figure he comes with is. I'm pretty sure if it's the Droid Factory sets I'm thinking of, it was a 2-pack at the time, and then perhaps it came with a unique accessory or droid part or something like that. Then we got the third release, which is the Saga Legends line version. And from my understanding, it seems to be a consensus among the collecting community that this is probably the definitive version of the 3 releases. And then since then, between this action figure and the Clone Wars animated one, I don't think we've had a Plo Koon release since in 3 3/4 inch, which is kind of unfortunate. I do believe Plo Koon is an action figure that deserves a release in the TBC line. I know a lot of people really want one, so perhaps we will at some point. So this action figure I did get for Christmas in 2008. A little story behind that. So when the Clone Wars series originally premiered in 2008, I recall I watched the Malevolence Saga as it premiered, and I was very fascinated by Plo Koon in those episodes. And beforehand, I never really explored Plo Koon very much. I knew who he was, and I knew he was a Jedi Master and all the basic things, but I never really explored his character very much. But then after watching those 3 episodes of the Malevolence, I was very impressed with his character, and I thought, wow, I really gotta have Plo Koon in my collection. So then, shopping around at retail leading into the holiday season, I was asking my parents, oh, I would really like to have this Plo Koon in my collection. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't really differentiate between the realistic version and the Clone Wars animated version. And I actually looked at this and thought this was the Clone Wars version of him. To be honest, it's really hard to tell the difference between the two. I mean, now as you're older and you look at it more, it's like, yeah, you could tell the difference between an animated and realistic one for Plo Koon. But at the time, just a quick glance between the two was like, yeah, there's not really a difference very much. And for the most part, the designs are very similar. So I got this action figure for Christmas in 2008 thinking that, oh, I got a Clone Wars animated one. But then as time went on, I realized, oh, I actually have a realistic version of him. And I'm totally okay with that. I think this is the best Plo Koon that Hasbro's made to date, at least for 3 3/4 inch. There is a Black Series 1 as well, which I unfortunately keep missing out on. I missed out on the initial release of him back in 2020, and then recently he went up for pre-order again, and it seems like he sold out really quick on that. So hopefully someday. But just a little tale to tell about how I acquired this. So he's been in my collection for what, 6 years or 16 years now at this point. And this was the very first Plo Koon I ever got, and yeah, this is the only Plo Koon I have right now. So the sculpting work is very good. I think it's spot on to the character. The head sculpt looks really good. He has the mask there with the eyes. I'm not exactly sure what Plo Koon's species is, but I have seen photos before of at least maybe it was concept art or fan concept art, I'm not sure, what he would look like without the mask on, and it's very fascinating. And he wears a mask because I think his species can't breathe very well outside their home planet, so it's to help regulate that. Looks pretty good. Has a lot of nice texturing detail and creases and folds and spots all over his skin here. Then for the rest of his outfit, it's a little unique for a Jedi. It's kind of this reddish burgundy color here. A little more sophisticated, I think, compared to the typical Jedi robes. This looks more like a regular aristocratic tunic. So he has like this grayish shirt underneath. Nice sculpting work in the hands here, and he has this almost like a glove, I suppose, over his ring fingers, both sides. And we have his belt here. There is a spot where you can plug a lightsaber hilt into. He does not come with one, and just taking a closer look at it, I'm not sure if a lightsaber hilt would really fit in there. Pouches on the back here, and we have the skirt as part of his tunic, and you can see it does have a cut on the side now for extra mobility. And for his trousers and his boots here. In terms of his articulation, he does have a ball joint the head technically. I can't get a whole lot of up and down motion out of it, but you can get fair range of motion side to side. You can pretty much get him in most poses you're going to want him in anyway. He does have hinge at the shoulders, which has a very nice range of motion. He does have swivel elbows, which I think works alright for this action figure. You get him in most of the poses you want him in. Then swivel wrist, then swivel waist, then swivel hips. And interesting articulation in the knees here. So you can see it's a little bit different for each knee. This one can just bend back at a 90-degree angle, and that's it. But he has an articulated boot, which swivels side to side. While this one here, it's actually articulated side to side at the knee. And then of course it can go just about 90 degrees in the back here. But the boot is not articulated. So it's interesting how they did the design like that. Not sure why they did that. And you can see, at least for his left leg here, he has a little bit of a gap around his knee. In terms of weapons and accessories, all he really comes with is his lightsaber here, which is a pretty standard hilt. Not much I can say about that. It's all in silver paint. Pretty basic hilt. I'm not sure exactly what Plo Koon's lightsaber hilt looks like, but I'll take Hasbro's word for it on this one and assume that this is probably it. It's a nice blue blade. And as you can see, he holds it very well in his hand. And you can get him to hold it with two hands. And if you position his hands just right, it almost looks like his hands go together. Pretty good. Then because he is part of the Saga Legends line, he does come with the weapons locker here. And I've showed this off before in previous videos before, so check out my playlist for the Saga Legends line and you'll see me take all these out and see what they're all about. It's just a bunch of various clone blaster rifles and pistols, the DC-15 rifles, the DC-17 pistol. Then there is a droid sniper rifle and a grenade launcher, pretty standard accessories at the time. But I want to show this locker off in particular. I think this may have been the one that actually came with him. But as you can see, there are different types of lockers out there. This one is a Republic-specific one. And it has the blue trim around with the Republic symbol there. I don't think I've really showed this one off too much, so I figure this would be a good opportunity to see what this one looks like. And then of course you do have the standard one that's just all white, and then you have another one that's with the orangish brown trim at the bottom here. Unfortunately, there's not a footlocker that has the CIS symbol or Empire or Rebellion. It's all just Republic. And I think these Republic ones just came with like Jedi and then maybe some of the clones, and that was it. But very nice. I don't think I've ever actually opened this one before. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about Plo Koon here. I will do a quick comparison here. Speaking of, or building off of the Clone Wars discussion I had a little bit ago, I suppose I'll bring out Ahsoka here. And according to the Clone Wars series, I believe it was Plo Koon who ends up discovering Ahsoka. And they look pretty good together. When I initially got this Plo Koon action figure, I did have him displayed in my Clone Wars collection as well. But now I have him with the rest of my realistic Jedi. He looks pretty good. Happy he's a part of my collection for all these years. So would I recommend him for your collection? I totally would. He's a pretty fairly easy action figure to get a hold of, no matter which version you get. Maybe the Droid Factory one is a little bit more expensive, because it seems like a lot of those packs typically are expensive. But at least for the Saga Legends one here, and then the Revenge of the Sith one, pretty easy to get a hold of. You could probably find one brand new, $20 or less online. And maybe even a local comic book store would have one. Not too hard of an action figure to get a hold of. And as of today, this is the best Plo Koon we've ever gotten. I wouldn't be surprised if we get one TVC at some point, since Plo Koon is allegedly Dave Filoni's favorite Jedi in the prequel era, at least. It seems like that he might have some pull in that case, so I could see Plo Koon getting made. And of all the Jedi Council members, besides the obvious ones like Mace Windu, Yoda, etc., Plo Koon is probably one of the more likely ones to be made. So perhaps we will at some point. But as of now, this is the best realistic Plo Koon we have for 3.75 inch. Hopefully I get the Black Series one at some point. And I'm happy this one is part of my collection for all these years now at this point. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.